Ferrari is worth £4 billion, Mercedes is worth £3.8 billion, and Red Bull Racing is worth £2.6 billion. Formula One is the world's most expensive sport. So, how can a Formula One team be bought for a single pound? And is it possible to have any success with a team that cheap? This story stems from the unexpected decision by Honda, a major player in the sport, to leave Formula One. So, what caused Honda to sell the team for £1? In December 2008, grappling with the severe economic downturn, Honda shocked the motorsport community by announcing its withdrawal from Formula One. The Japanese automaker's decision to sell its team was a response to the daunting financial challenges that had gripped the industry, compounded by dwindling car sales and a need to streamline operations. The Honda Racing F1 team, its 700-member team, and its state-of-the-art racing cars that had been in development since the start of 2008 were up for grabs. The future of the team hung in the balance. It was up to the team's commercial manager, Nick Fry, to find new ownership, and fast. He already had someone in mind, technical lead extraordinaire Ross Brawn. Brawn's resume was otherworldly. He had won back-to-back championships as Ferrari and Benetton's technical director. He was the man behind F1 legend Michael Schumacher's 7 world titles, and before his 2007 sabbatical, he had a total of 8 Constructors' Championships and 8 Drivers' Championships under his belt. Very few could have been a better fit for the job. After a bit of convincing from Nick Fry, Ross Brawn agreed to take over the F1 racing team from Honda on the 6th of March 2009, buying it for £1 in what was more of a symbolic purchase than an actual sale. Less than 2 weeks later, the FIA officially agreed to change the name of what was formerly the Honda F1 racing team to the Brawn GP. Ross Brawn now had a new team built in his image, with the FIA allowing them to join the F1 for free instead of paying the usual entry fee of $200 million. Left with very few sponsors and running on a bare-bones budget, the Brawn GP car was ready to race, looking like this. Ross Brawn inherited 2 drivers from Honda, Rubens Barrichello and Jenson Button. You may know him as the greatest wingman ever. However, Rubens Gonçalves Barrichello had 9 Grand Prix wins in the bag before 2009 and was there to fight for the championship. The Brazilian driver made his professional debut in the 1993 South African Grand Prix, finishing that year's season in 18th place in the professional rankings, a significant feat for a newcomer. He made his first podium finish in 1994, starting strong at 2nd place in the drivers' rankings, second only to Michael Schumacher. After a near-fatal accident at the San Marino Grand Prix later that year and a series of lackluster seasons, Barrichello finally pulled off his first Grand Prix win at the 2000 German Grand Prix, breaking the record for the longest time ever for a driver to get their first Grand Prix win. He went to rack up a few more Grand Prix wins in the following couple of years, before transferring to Honda GP at the end of 2005. At the time of joining Brawn GP, however, Barrichello had been winless for over 4 years, with his last Grand Prix win in 2004. His British counterpart Jenson Button, however, was far less experienced before joining the team. Button's first F1 entry was with Williams for the 2000 season. The following year, he switched to Benetton, spending 2 years on the team before finally switching to the Honda team, which was then named British American Racing in the 2003 season. He got his first Grand Prix win 3 years later at the 2006 Hungarian Grand Prix, after a career total of 113 races. Up until the 2009 season, that would be his only Grand Prix win. Saying the 2 drivers and the Brawn GP in general were coming into the new season as underdogs was an understatement. So, what gave them the edge to compete at the front? Major changes were introduced to rules of Formula One ahead of the 2009 season, intended to significantly shift the dynamics of the sport. The main goal of the new rules was to reduce the amount of downforce that cars could generate, making it easier for cars to tail each other and for more exciting racing overall. As the team went through the rulebook planning for the car design, one young engineer from Japan noticed multiple loopholes regarding the size of the diffuser that they could take advantage of. The bigger a diffuser is, the higher the downforce generated. And while this allowed higher cornering speeds and made for faster cars, this was exactly what the new F1 regulations were trying to ban. A single bigger diffuser was not an option, but the engineer noticed that the rules didn't mention anything about creating additional openings on the surfaces of the vehicle, a double diffuser as they would be known as. And just like that, a method was found to increase the size of the diffuser that was completely within the rules, but that no other team managed to take advantage of. Straight away, the engineers of Brawn GP got to work on a design of the diffuser lines in such a way that flow separation did not occur, essentially allowing them to function as one. Only time would tell how effective this diffuser would prove to be. The team debuted the 2009 season with the Australian Grand Prix. This was the first race since the 1997 European Grand Prix that had teams compete using slick tyres. The race was riddled with controversy, and McLaren and Renault initially threatening to boycott due to their perceived legality of the diffusers on the Brawn GP car, a claim ultimately dismissed by the stewards. The race started at 5 p.m. local time. Button took the uncontested lead from the start of the race till the end of the race, and Barrichello finished second in a Brawn 1-2, making for a fantastic debut for the constructor. This also made the Brawn GP the first racing team since Mercedes-Benz at the 1954 French Grand Prix to qualify for pole position and then go on to win their Grand Prix debut. Their next race would be the Malaysian Grand Prix, and just like the last, this one would also be one for the history books. The race was cut short due to a heavy downpour at the circuit at the 31st lap, falling short of the 42 laps needed for full points to be awarded to the drivers. Half points were given instead for the first time since the 1991 Australian Grand Prix. The race distance of approximately 107 miles was also the 5th shortest distance ever covered in an F1 Grand Prix. Brawn GP made history again, becoming the second ever constructor to win their first 2 F1 Grand Prix. Brawn GP's next win was in the 4th race of the season, the Bahrain Grand Prix. Jenson Button took the win once again after starting 4th on the grid, finishing with a 7-point lead ahead of runner-up Sebastian Vettel. What seemed like a fluke in the beginning of the season quickly turned into multiple consecutive race wins for the £1 Formula 1 team, and by the 7th Grand Prix at Turkey, Jenson Button had won 6 of them. This would be the last win in 2009 for Jenson, however. So, what happened for the rest of the season? Did they manage to pull off the underdog story of the century? The winning streak was followed by a sharp drop in performance in the next 2 races. As Brawn GP lacked the resources to develop their car, every other team eventually caught up with their performance. Hopefully, their points tally they racked up in the beginning of the season would prove to be enough. Things came to a head at the qualifying of the Hungarian Grand Prix, where Barrichello's rear suspension failed, which resulted in a spring falling on and hitting Ferrari's Felipe Massa's helmet, causing him serious head injuries. This also affected Button, as his car ended up getting extensively checked to make sure the same part wouldn't fail and loaded with more fuel than required, significantly slowing down his car. Despite Button being the fastest driver on the circuit at a point in the race, he finished 7th with Barrichello coming in at 10th. Barrichello would redeem himself at the European Grand Prix, taking the win for the first time in 5 years, one of the longest dry spells in Formula 1 history. This would also be Brawn GP's last win in its only season of competing. The highlight of their next 6 races was Button's 5th place finish at the Brazilian Grand Prix, which won him the Drivers' Championship. Combined with Barrichello's 8th place finish in the race, this earned the Brawn GP team the Constructors' Championship with 1 race to spare. At the final race of the season, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the driver pairing finished 3 and 4 with Button in the lead. Button finished the season as the world champion, and Barrichello as the 3rd in the championship. The Brawn GP team, alongside winning the championship, also won the 2010 Laureus World Sports Award for Team of the Year as a result of its outstanding performance. The team finished the 2009 season with 8 wins out of 17 races, and is the only team ever to have a 100% championship success rate. In November of that year, Daimler AG, also known as the Mercedes-Benz Group, bought a 75.1% stake in Brawn GP, effectively taking ownership of the constructor. The team was then rebranded as Mercedes GP Petronas Formula 1 team for the 2010 season. Brawn, however, stayed on as team principal till the end of the 2013 season. So, what began as a £1 Formula 1 team later grew into the powerhouse that managed to grab 8 Constructors' Championships in a row. Speaking of championships, be sure to click on the video on your screen to find out the story about a future F1 world champion.